Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the CosmicCast podcast. And in today's episode, I will be talking about how I got into Star Wars as a kid. It's a unique story behind that, how I came across it. Anyway, I was with my grandfather and my brother, and my grandfather had took my brother and I to a local flea market. The flea markets here opened on Saturdays and Sundays. Those were the only days that it opened. So we went one Saturday morning. My grandfather took us, and we were walking around. And I remember it was inside. It was inside this building, and they had a whole bunch of tables filled with like clothes. Some filled with shoes, some filled with video games, some filled with music CDs, and some of them also filled with VHS tapes. And I went over to the VHS tape section because during that time frame there's no DVDs or Blu-rays at all. It was just the VHS tapes. So I came across that table and I started looking at the different movies they had. Um, some of the movies they had, I had seen a few of them because some of them was like Disney movies and stuff like that. And then I just happened to see Star Wars. I seen Luke Skywalker, which was played by Mark Hamill. He was on the front of the box, along with Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher, she was also on the box too, just right below, Mark Hamill. And I was like, okay, I was like, what's this? And I got interested. Um, the price of the VHS tapes at that time frame from the flea market, it, it was people selling it for maybe like $5-10 at the time, which wasn't really a bad price during that time frame, to get a VHS tape. Um, because we had like a four-head VCR, and that VCR was a pretty good VCR um, during that time frame for what it was. But anyway, I remember my grandfather purchasing it for us to watch. So we took it home and we decided to fire it up and watch it. And that's when I seen the introduction, which it was like from a galaxy far, far away, Star Wars. And during that time frame, it was only episode 4, 5, and 6 that was that had already came out during that time frame. So it was Star Wars: A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. Those were the three main ones that were out during that time frame. During that time frame when I was in school, the sequels wasn't out, the prequels wasn't out. It was just 4, 5, and 6. So me and my brother, we started off watching A New Hope. Uh, of course, uh, figuring out that Luke was this farm boy who stayed with his aunt and uncle, and they had got some droids. And once they had got those droids, he found a recording, asking for, you know, Prince Leia was asking for the help of Obi Wan, which Luke was like, okay, who's Obi Wan? Like, I don't know any Obi Wan. Like, I know Ben Kenobi, but not an Obi Wan Kenobi. So, Luke got curious, and R2, pretty much got away from him and started looking for Ben in the Dune Sea, and Ben ended up showing up, rescuing Luke from these Tusken Raiders, and that's pretty much how we see this farm boy, go from living on a desert planet to pretty much traveling around. So he met up with Han Solo and Chewie, and then all of them went to rescue Princess Leia off the Death Star. And that was the first time I had watched that and found out about lightsabers, because Obi-Wan introduced Luke to the lightsaber and the Force, and he said that Luke's father was trained in the ways of the Force, in which I didn't realize that um, Luke's father was Vader until the Empire Strikes Back. And after the Empire Strikes Back, then Return of the Jedi happened. And I was pleased how that story for all those films went, because I was like, wow. I was like, this whole entire time, to find out that Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker, was Luke's father, the whole entire time. um, but anyways, shortly after I had got those movies, I remember owning a Super Nintendo. I had a Super NES, and I was quite shocked when I realized that they had the Super Nintendo games for the movies. They had A New Hope, they had Empire Strikes Back, and they also had Return of the Jedi. Well, I played The New Hope to Super Nintendo because my brother, he had that one, and myself, I had went to this retail store called Roses, um, and they had like quite a selection of Super Nintendo games. Not only did they have Empire Strikes Back, but they also had Return of the Jedi. So I got the Empire Strikes Back and the Return of the Jedi Super Nintendo game to the Super NES, and you know, it it pretty much was like I was quite surprised, how close it was to almost to the films, for what it was, because I was like, okay, um, it's pretty much low budget, Super Nintendo game, and of course it had the sound effects, it had the lightsaber effects, it had the music, and the music from Star Wars is epic. So I remember listening to the music, and I was like, oh man, I was like, this game just hits, like the nostalgia definitely hits close to the movies. And I remember playing A New Hope, but uh, I ended up not being able to beat that game, because I didn't spend a whole lot of time like playing that as I did Return to Jedi. Return to Jedi Super Nintendo game was definitely my favorite. I think that's why I played Return to Jedi a lot more than I did A New Hope. And the second game that I played a lot more was Empire Strikes Back to Super Nintendo. So I played the Empire Strikes Back, and I played Return of the Jedi a whole lot more. So those were the two games that I ended up beating out of the three. Um, if I could go back and and play New Hope to a Super NES again, I would probably spend more time trying to figure it out than actually trying to beat the game, like how I did with Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. The thing I like about Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi is because on Empire Strikes Back, you did get to play with Luke, and you did get to play with Han Solo, of course. And on Return of the Jedi, I remember being able to play with Luke, also Chewie, Han Solo, and Princess Leia. I remember, being able to play with, all of them, and oh, you also got to play with Lando too. on one of the stages. So I definitely enjoyed doing that because you got to fight that Rancor in Return of the Jedi. So I think that's why Return of the Jedi was so much more better than A New Hope, Super NES. But I love all three of them, equally because like I said, it definitely holds a place in my heart, and plus it holds a place towards the movies that I watch because I started off watching them before I even played the games. Also, I remember as a kid when I stayed in these apartments. I remember when I had went to the store. I think it was at Kmart at the time. Yeah, it was like me and my mom. We had went to Kmart, and we was just looking around, and of course, I didn't know that they would have like these lightsabers. I remember looking through the lightsabers, and the first ones they had Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber, which I purchased, and shortly after, my brother he got the Darth Maul lightsaber. And those lightsabers, I remember, you put I think it was like two big batteries in them, and then when you hit the button, it like lit up. So once lightsabers lit up, you could take the lightsabers and just kind of smack them against each other, and it would make the sounds, which was so cool. And I remember my brother and I, we would like have like like a little mini duels in the living room. Like at nighttime, it would be dark, and we would ignite the lightsabers, and I would ignite Qui-Gon, so which was green. He would ignite Darth Maul, which was red, and we just hit them and smack them against each other, and have an actual, like fight, which was fun. We didn't hit each other with the lightsaber. We just banged them against each other, and yeah, just like to see like how we would do like in terms of uh, like acting like we were actual Jedi and Sith, and we would trade lightsabers sometimes. Like I would give him mine to like use the fight against me, and he would give me his to fight against him. So I actually got to use his Darth Maul lightsaber, which was like really cool because I was like, okay, I was like, even though I like Jedi, I also like the Sith. So I'm like, let me, see how it is to use, Darth Maul's lightsaber. So, it's fun doing. And shortly after, my cousin, he ended up getting the Anakin Skywalker lightsaber. So after he purchased the Anakin Skywalker lightsaber, it was my cousin, myself, my brother. All three of us would have a duel. It would be like me and my cousin versus my brother because he had the Darth Maul lightsaber, I had the Qui Gon lightsaber, and my cousin he had the Anakin Skywalker lightsaber, and that was like shortly after, I think it was like episode two, Attack of the Clone Wars came out. So yeah, so you can imagine how fun that was with all three of us like doing battle. Um, all three of us we would go outside at nighttime, in an apartment complex, and we would sit there and like have like duels, like right in front of our friends, with the lightsabers, and then shortly after, our friends got in on it, because like not only that we were Star Wars fans, like they ended up being like Star Wars fans too, and I remember all of us coming together in a big circle, and you know uh I was surprised that the majority of our friends, they knew exactly how to like fight with the lightsaber, twirl it around, and just have a nice friendly duel. It was like nobody, got mad at each other, and nobody, was like, oh, I hate this or anything like that. Everybody just, had fun. It was it was definitely a good fun, that everybody, got to just have a friendly duel and have fun, test each other, see how each other's skills, were with a lightsaber. So, it was just, pretty much, just, stuff that we did, as kids having fun, just because, we pretty much, liked the majority of the same things when it came to stuff like movies, anime. A lot of us was really big on Dragon Ball Z, and other type anime during that time frame, and other type movies during that time frame, like Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. Uh, you know, um, we just pretend and have fun, because that was, you know, pretty much, it was all about back then, because we were staying in apartments, we didn't have much, to play on because the only thing they pretty much had, they had a park, they had built a park, but the majority of us, we rarely went to the park, being that the fact that we was probably about maybe in our teens, since we was about like 12, 13, and all that stuff. uh that's why we pretty much you know spent our time doing that. Spent our time playing with the lightsabers, or if it wasn't playing with the lightsabers, we spent our time like maybe roller skating, or riding bikes, all that stuff. So we just found things that kept us occupied. But I can say Star Wars was definitely one of the main things that kept us occupied, and brought us together. And it was, we were doing lightsaber duels before anyone even seen lightsaber duels on YouTube, because YouTube wasn't even around during that time frame. So uh, or cell phones wasn't around during that time frame either. I mean, if I had a cell phone back then, and if that was a thing, and uh, what I would have done, I probably would have recorded, like each of our like duels and fights that we had with those lightsabers, and just saved it, and just would have just probably uploaded it to YouTube, today, and just like look back on it, because it's amazing how you can look back on things from your childhood, that help you pretty much get through your childhood, because we didn't have much back then, but it's the little things that count. And Star Wars is definitely one of the things that I'm actually glad that we had, because not only did we do that, you know, it was also action figures. I didn't collect many action figures of Star Wars. I probably collected maybe about uh probably three action figures during the time frame, because like I said, my mom didn't have much money back then during that time frame, so that's why I wasn't able to collect a whole lot of action figures. But for the action figures I did collect, I was pretty much glad that I got it, because I think two of the action figures that I had got came with like a keychain. It had a keychain that had an image of, like, one had an image of Darth Maul on it, and the other had a image of Qui Gon. So and then the other one had an image of Obi Wan. So I was pretty much glad that I definitely got those, at least. And like, I've been liking Star Wars ever since. So that's pretty much how I got into Star Wars. And I'm interested to know how many of you got into it as well. If you got like stories like this, hey, let me know. Put them in the comments. And I love to see them. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys like listening to another video, and also like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll definitely be back with another episode of the CosmicCast podcast. And I definitely enjoyed telling you guys the story about how I got into it. Um, Anyway, guys, I'll see you next time and have a great day. Bye.